Sports Legends podcast. Today it's Co here, and I'm joined with Ozzy and Bally, two other members of Sports Legends. So today we're going to be discussing about the NHL, how it's been going so far, the MLB free agency, and the ever-nearing Super Bowl 55. So first up, we're going to be talking about the NHL season, how it's been going, and who have been some of your key players so far this year. So Bally, what do you got? What team has surprised you the most? Start with that.
The team that surprised me the most this year, if you're talking about the team that hasn't been doing all that well, I gotta say it's the Rangers. Lafreniere's only scored 1 or 2 goals this year. I would have thought he probably would have got more, and they're not doing so well. And then, the team that surprised me the most that's gotten to, second place in the North Division is the Habs. Tyler Toffoli, and, they've been scoring, so much. I haven't seen, it's been a while since I've seen someone score this much.
And, Ozzy, who's been your two key surprising factors? Who has been the worst and who has been the best in your mind?
I think the worst, in my opinion, the worst team that I think this year is probably, to be honest, probably the same as Bally, the Rangers, because Alexis Lafreniere, he's been doing not too bad, but he only has 2 goals or a goal, and the team that surprised me the most, probably Montreal Canadiens, of course. Josh Anderson, Max Domi, that trade, that was pretty mad, but I think honestly Anderson's way better than Max Domi, kind of. Josh Anderson's been doing a lot of work on the Montreal Canadiens. He's just impressing me a lot, and then Montreal Canadiens, just overall, they're impressing me a lot.
And for me, honestly, I'm gonna have to go with either another North Division team. Probably either the Canucks or the Habs, both of which probably the two best teams in the North Division. Probably the worst, I don't know, the Rangers, they haven't been doing too bad. I can't really put it on them for that. They're still a younger team. A lot of people expected them to do well. Honestly, there's the automatic bad teams, but I think the team that surprised me the most, that's not been doing very well, the Leafs. Talk about somebody like the Leafs, right? So they're supposed to be best team in their division. They haven't been living up to expectations, probably for a lot of reasons. You can't get too mad at that, but I think the Leafs, they need to step it up if they're gonna make a big noise in the playoffs. So on to the next question. We're gonna see. So Bally, which player has surprised you the most this year?
In NHL?
Yeah.
You're talking about?
Yeah.
So the team, or the player that has surprised me the most, in my opinion, I think it's Josh Anderson. Every time I've picked him in fantasy hockey, he's scored pretty much every time for me. Same with Connor McDavid. They both surprised me a lot, even though.
Well, Connor McDavid isn't much of a surprise. He's just the GOAT. And Ozzy, who surprised you the most?
We all know that.
Like I said before, Josh Anderson, he's been doing a lot of work on the Montreal Canadiens especially, and I think he deserves to be on Montreal because he's just really good, and then he deserves it because he's been doing a lot of hard work and showing the coach that he can actually be what moves he can do, and if he can shoot, and he's been scoring a lot of goals, so that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think for me, they got to be one of the 3 Northern Division rookies. Most of my topics here are going to be about the North Division. That's the only hockey I've really watched because I'm Canadian. I just watch all the North Division games. So I'd say the 3 people that it's probably a 3-way tie for the most surprising player who surprised me the most. Probably Canucks rookie Nils Hoglander. He's 20-year-old, and last year in the World Juniors, he played really well. I think he scored a Forsberg goal, if I'm correct, and he's just been lighting it up in the Canucks. And again, he's on my fantasy hockey team, and he's been well. Another rookie that surprised me, Kyler Yamamoto, just been lighting it up. I know it's pretty easy if you're playing with like Leon Draisaitl and Dominic Cahoon, who another one has surprised me. But he's really been lighting the lamp a lot and playing first line power play with McDavid. And lastly, Tim Stützle. I was talking to some people the other day about how he was doing, and everybody who I talked to, like, they really like him. They're really impressed with him, and his play style is just really interesting. Like, if you think of Mitch Marner, but like more of a goal scorer. So yeah, those are probably my 3 players that have surprised me the most, the 3 Northern Division rookies. So the next question, who has been
I got
the
one
most...
more thing before you move on to the next topic. I
Okay.
got one more question. A player that also has surprised me is Ilya Mikheyev, blocking them shots all day. Like, he's the best.
Yeah, Ilya Mikheyev.
Ilya Mikheyev.
And boys, who has underperformed the most? Bally, we'll start with you.
Underperformed? Like, out of, like, every NHL team, I honestly gotta say, like, I thought, like, Alexei Lafreniere would come to the NHL, like, score, like, 7 goals, like, already. Like, who is that? I think it's Tyler Toffoli or Josh Anderson. They both have, like, 7 goals, and Lafreniere only has, like, again, 1 or 2. Like, he surprised me, like, the most out of every single player in the whole entire league. Because I remember seeing him on the World Juniors, like, when that one hit against Russia and they lost 6-0, I think that's when he got injured, but he came back and he bounced back in, like, all those games. He, like, scored a couple goals after that. So I thought he'd just, like, come into the NHL and start, like ripping some Bardanskis and all that.
Nice. So, Ozzy, who's underperformed most for you?
I honestly kind of think Alexei Lafreniere did too, but my opinion, I honestly think the person who's underperformed for me is honestly Steven Stamkos. I know he's been pretty good like a while, but like he's just not scoring as many goals as he used to, and I like him like personally too, but I just haven't seen him like score goals and do all that stuff. That's just my opinion.
And for me, I feel like Bally, you can't really hate too much on the kid, Alexei Lafreniere, his first overall pick. When you think about it, he's been doing pretty good for all the hype that he's been getting. You can't put too much harm on him. So I gotta say, like, again, it's kind of hard, the North Division, so none of these picks will really be from anywhere else but the North Division, because that's all I watch, but I don't know, the Flames, like, their top players, like Elias Lindholm, Sean Monahan, Johnny Gaudreau, I haven't heard much out of them, but honestly, I'm a Leaf fan, and Austin Matthews, like, he's working on his defensive game, which has really helped him develop as an all-around player, but I just haven't seen like the intensity and the offensive play that what happened last year.
I gotta say, to add on to Ozzy's, I'm looking at some stuff of Steven Stamkos right now, and like, sorry to say this and all, but I think he's actually been doing all right this year. He hasn't been doing perfect, but he's been doing all right. He scored 4 goals, a couple power play goals for them, and yeah, I gotta say, he's been doing okay. He hasn't been like performing like his best, but like, I gotta say with Ozzy, yeah, he hasn't been performing like all that.
And
yeah.
To wrap up the NHL,
he's not doing great, but yeah.
To wrap up the NHL segment of this show, what have you guys' thoughts on the overall NHL season so far? What do you think about like the divisions, the sponsors on the helmets, everything new that came to this season with Corona? Valley?
So I gotta say, to be honest, I don't really like the sponsors on the helmet, but like,
I don't really mind them. I feel like they had a cool touch.
I know some of them were pretty cool, like the Scotiabank ones and like Bell ones, but I think the Scotiabank ones are the cool S on the side. And I honestly gotta say, my favorite like thing about this Corona thing about like the NHL and stuff is like, it's cool how they like put the tarps over the seats, and they're all like different colors. Like I've seen like in Calgary when the Calgary were playing the Leafs, like on like the Leafs bench, the away bench, they had like blue, and then on like all around the whole other side was like red, and it was like looking pretty cool. I gotta say, matched all Calgary. It's cool.
Ozzy, what have you thought about the NHL season so far? Do you like the divisions? Do you like how it's been going?
Again, basically what Charlie said. Bally said, but basically, like the sponsors on the helmet, there's a lot of new ones and all that, and especially the division. Montreal Canadiens. I haven't really seen them play any different team than Canucks, but overall, I think the divisions are pretty well organized and all that. But all I can say, like the new stuff that came to with COVID and all that, all of them are pretty cool. Like sponsors, thing on the seats, everything basically.
Okay, moving on to our next segment. We're talking about MLB. So, pretty much there's not much to talk about other than free agency and trades. So, I'm going to ask you this, Bally. Who do you think has been the biggest signing this year? Biggest, signing, overall free agent, the player who...
Yeah, for me, I'm not surprised about LeMahieu. I know he was going back to the Yankees. Like, he wants to stay in New York. Like, even Luke Voigt said it. Like, his gut tells him that DJ LeMahieu is coming back to New York City. But the surprisingest, biggest one to me, I gotta say, is Springer to the Blue Jays. I thought he was gonna go back to Houston or maybe the Mets even. But because he signed I think it was a 6-year deal for I can't remember how much money, but it was that's surprising to me. I didn't think Springer would go to the Jays, and I do not like the Jays. So,
Ozzy, what about you?
So basically what Bally said for DJ LeMahieu, I knew he was basically coming back to New York, but I thought, honestly, in my personal opinion, someone else was actually gonna reach and take him. But I know he loved New York and when he played there. But again, I always thought that someone else would just reach in and take him. Thought that.
I think I didn't think the Yankees had enough salary to do it, and then they acquired Kluber, and then there were those rumors with Castillo. So for me, the biggest signing, it's probably got to be one of the Jays signings, like Kirby Yates, probably the Kirby Yates, George Springer, even JT Realmuto re-signing with the Phillies was pretty big. I'm intrigued to see where Marcell Ozuna goes. They'll stay in the National League or head to the American League. That'll bring us to the next question. What team do you think has done best in this year's MLB free agency?
In free agency, but if you're talking about trades or something like that, I gotta say, all the way around, free agency, I gotta think here. This is, everyone has done, a big part. To be honest, I don't think the Dodgers have done too much. The Cubs have done little. I think, honestly, the Yankees with Kluber, LeMahieu, and then now they're signing, what's his name? Kyle Barraclough or whatever.
Barraclough,
signing him to a minor league. Signing him to a minor league.
Yeah, that was just right now. I got a notification to my phone.
Yeah, and this is that's big for New York and also Tanaka didn't resign. He went back to Japan, the Rakuten Eagles, I think they're called.
Yeah, I don't know about that decision, but it's probably just for coronavirus things. They can play a thing with fans over there. We can't hear. So, Ozzy, what team do you think has done best in this year's MLB free agency?
I honestly think Blue Jays have with Springer and what you said. The other guy, I can't remember his name, but I always think the Blue Jays because they've been signing a bunch of players, and they've been signing basically a bunch of maybe young players, and I think they're building up a new team. That's what I'm surprised of. They're signing people young, and then now they're building up a new team.
Yeah, I think they the Blue Jays as well have been making the biggest splashes in MLB free agency this year. The Jays re-signed Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins, which I'm not sure about. I know a lot of people didn't like them, including me as a Jays fan. But they've been doing well. They signed Semien, Yates, and Springer, 3 of the biggest names in free agency, and they're I got a notification saying that they're closing in on a deal with Trevor Rosenthal, he was Kirby Yates' teammate. So yeah, I'd have to say Toronto has made the best. And got one last question that wasn't planned though. Who do you think's the favorite for the 2021 World Series? Who's gonna win? Bally?
For me, if I started off, I gotta say honestly, I'm a Yankees fan. I'm not saying like they're gonna make it to the. I think they're gonna make it to the World Series because like, have you seen like they've been training? Like you've seen all their training videos and like, I also think I don't think the Dodgers will make it this year. I think they'll make it to the NLCS against the Mets, and I think the Mets will make it because they got Lindor, Carrasco. They're like getting close to Trevor Bauer. Same with LA. They're getting close to Trevor Bauer. But I honestly think the Mets and the Yankees, like, we're going back to like a couple World Series, like back in like early 2000s. And I think that's going to be the World Series. Either the Yankees against the what do they call them? The Mets. Or, to be honest, I do not like the Jays, but I think the Jays might make it to, like, the NLCS against the Yankees. And that's my World Series.
Sorry, I forgot to change the background page from NHL to the MLB. Sorry for everybody. Ozzy, who do you think's going to win the MLB World Series this year?
Well, like always, basically what Chuck said. Bally said. I also think Toronto's gonna make it to the what Bally said against New York Yankees because literally it's just my opinion, and plus they've been signing a bunch of new players, and I think those new players are gonna do well for them, and then I think they're gonna be good in the World Series.
Yeah, as much as I hope the Jays make it to the World Series, I'm a Jays fan. I don't feel like they will. I feel like, again, they aren't one of the best teams in the American League are still the Rays and the Yankees. National League best teams, probably Dodgers, Braves still. And then this year, the Mets. And, the Mets have added to their system. And I'm intrigued to see, like, the Phillies. Like, they haven't done well. The amount of skill that they have on their team with Bryce Harper and Real Muto. They got some good young pitchers in Nola and Eflin. I want to see what they can do. Like, I haven't seen them make a playoff run in a while, so that'll be pretty interesting to see. So now we will move on to the topic you've probably all been waiting for. Saved it for last, the Super Bowl, the Chiefs at the Bucs. So this is probably going to be a segment about just opinions and analysis. So let's just ask Bally a question here. Who do you think will be this deciding factor in the Super Bowl? Who do you think will be a deciding player factor in the Super Bowl?
Like MVP or something, or
who do you think will make like a big important who will play an important role? Yeah.
Like, I think Tom Brady all around. Like, I remember watching this one Super Bowl. I can't remember who it was against. I think it might have been the Falcons. Brady was down by 4 touchdowns in the third quarter, and they won the game, like, coming back from the third quarter, down by 4 touchdowns. They won in the fourth quarter. And I think he'll do it. Like, I never bet against Brady, because, like, if you bet against Brady, then I don't know what you're saying. Like, Mahomes is good, too, and all, but, like, it's going to be super tough against them, because, like, who do you go with? Like, I'm still going with Brady.
Mm-hmm. And Ozzy, who do you think will be a key deciding player in the Super Bowl this year, Super Bowl 55?
I honestly think Patrick Mahomes, because he's arguably the best quarterback in the NFL, and I think what's really good about him, he's good under pressure, and he gets hyped up and all that, but yeah. Tom Brady, I think, will do pretty well too. It's just that I think Patrick Mahomes is a bit better than him because he's good under pressure and all that. But yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, I feel like I got one for each team here. I got one for the Bucs, one for the Chiefs. For me, the Chiefs, a deciding player will be George Kelsey. I really like how he plays. He for me, he is like he plays him and Mahomes have really good chemistry. And same with on the other side, the Bucs, Brady and Gronk, they got good chemistry. So I feel like if both those tandems are rolling and clicking on all cylinders, I feel like it'll be a very good game when on the passing. Especially with both teams having really good defense, especially the Chiefs. So that brings us to the next question. And the final question of the show, of the podcast, however. Who are your guys' picks to win the Super Bowl and why? So we're going to start with you, Bally. What are you thinking?
I gotta say, I know the Bucs are gonna win because of two reasons. One, you have Brady. He's good under pressure. He'll get like I said, under 4 touchdowns. I don't even know if they were home in that game, but he threw 4 touchdowns. And they won. And so.
Yeah, I'm trying to research which Super Bowl that was. I'm not finding it though right now.
And and also Super Bowl 55, I think it is this year. The Bucs are at home, and that is a really good advantage for Brady because last game against the Packers, the Bucs and the Packers, Brady wasn't home and they still beat them by 10. Aaron Rodgers is still a really, really good quarterback, but I think Brady's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
He's gonna do it. You're calling it, Ozzy. What do you think? Who do you think is gonna win the Super Bowl?
Well, what I said about Patrick Mahomes and all that, not trying to be not trying to offend them, but I'll go with Bally's side. I'm gonna go with Buccaneers because again they have Brady. He's same as Mahomes. He's really good under pressure, and then once the points start racking up, he gets really hyped, and then he starts throwing the ball really well. And I think him and his teammates have really good chemistry, and I think they'll work it out to win it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go against you guys. I'm going to say the Chiefs are going to win this. So, if you see what on your screen right now, you see that the Chiefs, they had a better record, and that doesn't mean anything. The Bucs had a harder division, and I know that. The Bucs, they beat the Saints in semis. I don't know what they call that in football. I'm not a big football guy, but I've been doing my research for this podcast. So, I feel like the Chiefs are going to win this for many reasons. I feel like the Chiefs have a better overall defense and can stop the running game a lot better. So that's going to make Brady have to have a really good passing game. And if he doesn't have that, I have the Chiefs winning because Mahomes is always good. He's always good under pressure, and that's why I have the Chiefs winning this game.
I have to add something on to one of the last questions. MVP or who's gonna do good in the game. I also think Tom Brady and Ron Gronkowski.
Yes,
he's always been Brady's man. He's been Brady's man since he came out of retirement just to play with Brady because he played on the Bucs, or now he plays on the Bucs. He played on the Patriots, won no clue how many Super Bowls with them.
A lot.
But Brady has
Too many.
I think he's won 6 or 7 Super Bowls, and he's made it to the Super Bowl 10 times.
Yeah.
And this guy, he's the best quarterback in history. Sorry to people that you don't like Brady, but he's the best quarterback in history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people argue that. I mean, I think Peyton Manning is the best quarterback. But yeah, just to wrap it up, just interesting fact here: the difference between the starting quarterbacks in the game, Brady and Mahomes, there's an 18-year difference between the two. So, just an interesting fact, Mahomes is 25, Brady's 43. So, we're going to end the podcast here. It's going to be a weekly podcast, so we'll have one next week, probably around Wednesday or Thursday again. So, stay tuned for the podcast and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the gaming channel.